Guys, welcome back. We are on Unit 2, Lesson 1. Our learning targets today: I can identify different vowel sounds in my individual code chart. I can read and write words with the EE spelling, E. I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story, Grand's Trips. So we've got our flip book review. We've got the K as in cat. Notice the power bar. It's a longer power bar there. So you're going to hear that sound a lot. You've got the sound. The power bar is long also. You've got the A sound like in day. It's got a smaller power bar, so you're not going to see that quite as much. You've got the WH sound, W, as in when. The power bar is not so long, and so it's not a sound that you're going to see a lot of. The OR sound, as in for, the power bar is longer. You will see that one quite a bit. And then you've got home, like the O sound. It's a shorter power bar, so that's not a very common sound that you will see. So this year you will have your own individual code charts similar to the vowel code flip book. Well, you guys don't have that right now, okay? So we're going to have to skip this page. So these charts are going to help you when you're not sure about how to spell a word. Well, I know. If you came to this word and we're not sure how to say it, you could use your individual code charts to help you. So this is a vowel sound. We trace vowel sounds in green. Notice A sound. It is a sound we hear quite frequently, like the word pat. Okay, does A and pat sound like flat? Yes, it does. Then you've got the A sound in pat. Does it sound like flat? Yes. Hat? Yes. Clap? Yes. And snap all have the same A sound. So if we review the rest of the short vowel sound spellings in the vowel code flip book, you will trace these all in green. Well, you don't have that, so we will go to the next one. So this is the vowel sound E, as in pet. Okay, notice it is in green because it is a vowel. Notice the power bar is long because this is a very common spelling, the E sound. We also have the I sound, and it is traced in green as well, as in it. The power bar is long because that is a common spelling as well, eh. Then you've got the ah vowel sound. It is also in green. The power bar is not as long because it's not so common, but it is out there. The ah sound as in hop, ah. Then you have the sound as in but. The power bar is a little bit shorter, so it is out there, not so common, but it's the Now today's new sound is E, like in key and read and feet and eagle. It has the E sound. So repeat these words after me, okay? Eat, good. Each, good. East, great. Eagle, great. Now notice they are spelled with the EA on each of those words. It gives us the E sound. So repeat these words after me. These words have the E sound in the middle. Peace, greet, meet, and heat. Notice that EA is right there in the middle, or EE. Repeat these words after me. These words have the E sound at the end. Bee, me, key, and tree. Notice they're all spelled differently. You either have the double E, just one E, or an EY there, giving us the E sound. And we also had the EA earlier that gave us that sound. Now I'm going to say some words. Some of these words will have the E sound in the middle and some will not. So close your eyes and raise your hand if you hear the E sound, all right? Okay, so I'm going to say some words, and if you hear the sound in the middle, raise your hand, okay? Cheek. Yeah, your hand goes up. Good job. Cheap. Yep. Bed. Neat. Ooh, yes. Pin. Deep. Good. Bean. Great. Hen. Okay. So you were able to hear the EE sound in most of those words, weren't you? Yes. So let's introduce this spelling. E. It's double E, but it sounds like E, okay, as in B. Notice it's in green. The power bar there is not so long. It's kind of small because this is not a very common spelling. It's got the sound in feet, E. So introducing the spelling EE. These two letters work together to make the E sound. And notice when you write EE, we go from left to right and back around. Left to right and back around. Great job. The spelling. Now, you do not have your code chart because it says to turn to page 2 of your individual code chart and trace the spelling in green. So you can take out your whiteboard and make the double E on your whiteboard. Now, whenever the E spelling appears on a worksheet or in a story for the next few lessons, it will appear in bold, dark ink, like seed, knee, need, free, and tree. Worksheet 1-1, write the spellings / word box. So if we look at the spellings, you're going to have the EE there. Let me show you again. Remember, left to right and around, left to right and around. So remember, when you're writing your spellings, left to right and around, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is I am going to share my screen and show you the worksheet that you're going to be doing with the double E. So let me share my screen here, friends. Okay, so this is the sheet that you will be working on. It's lesson 1.1, okay? In lesson 1.1, you will have to trace the double E's on line 1 and line 2. You will have to trace the word be on line 1 and the line below it. Then you have the word seen that you will write on the top of that line and below it, and feet. Okay? So make sure you do that and turn it in. All right, so now let's move forward here. You're going to practice your EEs. And then on the back of that sheet, there are pictures, and you have to write the word under its matching picture. We've done that one before also. I can share with you that one too. So hold on, I'll show you what it looks like so you know what you're doing. Okay. And you've got the words at the top, and then you've got the pictures at the bottom that you correlate with there. Okay. So I'm going to stop that one also, so that way you're back. All right, so our whole group, we're going to read a story called Gran. Gran. Today you're going to hear a story from our new reader. Let's take a look at the cover of our big book. All right, you don't have the big book, and I will be sharing it with you online. So what do you think Gran is short for? You're right, it's short for grandma. Gran is short for grandma. This book has 3 main characters. It has Gran, Jen, and Josh. Jen and Josh are Gran's grandchildren. And it looks like Gran loves Jen and Josh. We will see that Gran is very adventurous and likes to try new things. Let's find the table of contents. The first story in this book is called Gran's Trips. A story's title often gives us a clue to what the story is about. So let me share my screen again. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, show you the table of contents. And we're going to look and see what page it starts on. And if you notice, Gran's Trips start on page 2. So we're going to scroll to page 2 to see Gran's Trips. And there's Gran right there on that bicycle, huh? So Gran's Trips. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to read this to you about Gran's Trips, and we will discuss it. Let me see here 1 second. All right, when will Gran get here? Josh asked. Jen shrugs. Just then, Josh and Jen see a cab on the street. Gran is here, Jen yells. When Gran steps from the cab, Josh and Jen run up to get a hug. And there's Gran with the hug. Was the trip fun? Josh asked. Which one? Gran asked. I went on 3 trips. Where to? Asked Josh. One was to the Swiss Alps, says Gran. In the Alps, there were steep cliffs. I went up to the top of one cliff, but it was slick. I fell and had to cling to the rocks. No, says Jen. Yes, says Gran. Here is a snapshot. Oh my goodness, look at Gran there hanging on that icy cliff. What was the next trip, Josh asked. Well, I went to Hong Kong, says Gran. What is in Hong Kong? Lots of stuff, says Gran. Oops. In Hong Kong, I met a man who sings and has on his back. No, says Josh. Yes, says Gran. Here is a snapshot. Look at that cool picture. What was the last trip, asked Jen. I went to the Gulf to swim with the eels and feed the fish, says Gran. No, says Jen. Yes, says Gran. Here is a snapshot. Which trip was the best? Josh asked. This one, Gran says, the one where I get to see Josh and Jen. And there's Gran feeding the eels. So I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So Gran had some adventures, didn't she? So Gran's, this punctuation mark here is called an apostrophe, and we've seen it in some of our Nat and Beth's stories. It shows possession. Gran's, with the apostrophe there, tells us that the trip belongs to Gran. So it was Gran's trip. It was her trip. Nat's cat. What belongs to Nat? The cat. Great job. The cat belongs to Nat. The apostrophe tells us this. Beth's mom. What does Beth have? Beth has a mom. Good job. You will learn that Gran travels to many places, including the Swiss Alps and Hong Kong. What do you think Gran will do in those places? Gran also visits a gulf, and a gulf is part of the ocean where the water is usually warm. What might someone do at a gulf? Most people swim, right? Collect seashells, play in the water. Yeah. So let's preview some spellings here. We have the E sound like in see, street, 3, steep, eel, and feed. We also have the ing sound like in sing, wing, Hong Kong. Tricky words. Oh, we know lots of tricky words because we've been studying them. Says, when, here, which, was, one, where. More tricky words. There, were, what, and from. So let's preview vocabulary. Shrugs. We do that all the time. We just shrug our shoulders, don't we? Steep. Look how steep those stairs are. He's holding on to climb up. And then cliff. We have slick, meaning that you could fall or slide off something. Cling, like you're holding on to something. Gulf, area of water that's surrounded on all sides by the land except for one. We have eel, which is a fish-like creature. So we read to find out what types of adventures Gran had in the Swiss Alps, Hong Kong, and the Gulf. So who were the main characters in our story? Gran, Jen, and Josh. Yes. What are Josh and Jen doing at the very beginning of the story? Were they waiting on Gran to arrive? They were, weren't they? They couldn't wait for her to get there. Oops. What did Gran do in the Swiss Alps? She climbed a steep cliff, didn't she? And she almost fell off, but she grabbed hold, didn't she? Yes. Who did Gran meet in Hong Kong? Yeah, she met that man with the wings. What did Gran do when she visited the Gulf? She fed the eels and the fish. I'm going to say some words. Give me a thumbs up if you think the word describes Gran, or a thumbs down if you think it does not. Lazy. Was she lazy? No, she wasn't lazy. What about adventurous? Oh yeah, that's a definite thumbs up, isn't it? What about fun? Oh man, she was lots of fun. She did lots of different things. What about shy? Was she shy? No, she wasn't. But she was very adventurous and she was very fun. All right, so worksheet 1.2. So let me bring that up for us. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen with you about Gran, so we can look at these questions that I want you to answer. All right, so you see Gran's trips. Where did Gran meet a man with wings on his back? So where was she when she met this man with wings? You're right. She was in Hong Kong, wasn't she? What did Gran do at the Gulf? She fed fish and she fed eels, didn't she? Yes. Very cool. I don't think I could do that though. That would make me scared to feed an eel. And what trip was Gran's best trip? Yeah, she said it was seeing Josh and Jen, wasn't it? Because she loves them. And then number 4, Gran gets to Josh and Jen on a shop, in a cab, or in a truck. How did she get there to see them? You're right, she came in a cab. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. All right, so we're back and we looked at our worksheet 1.2, and there is a worksheet 1.3 that we will take home also. So our learning targets, I can identify different vowel sounds in my individual code chart. I can read and write words with the E spelling, and I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story Gran's Trips. And thank you very much, guys.